Well, hello there. Welcome to this week's video. I'm Karen from karenturpin.com, and today we're going to talk about spiritual tools and do we really need them? Now, I've had a lot of spiritual tools over the years. I use none of them now, and I haven't actually already for quite a few years. So what are spiritual tools? Well, we could think of crystals, tarot cards, oracle card decks, pendulums, crystal grids, altars, crystal wands, the flower of life templates. We could think of mantras or certain words that you use every time you open a meditation or a healing space or close it. And actually, I would even go so far as to say some of the things like cacao and ayahuasca and psychedelic things like that people use now for their spiritual purposes. I would put all of that under the umbrella of spiritual tools. Now, over the years, I've used all of those. Well, actually, not all of them. I haven't done psychedelic things. But all of the crystals and the grids and the pendulums, I've had all of that. Probably still got a few things around now, but I don't use them. I don't use them because I don't need them. I don't feel the need for them anymore. And I know that that is probably going to rattle a few cages because, and in the past, I probably would have judged somebody that said that. I probably would have looked at someone saying that as like, oh, she thinks she doesn't need that. Ooh, she thinks she's better than that. I would have probably said, oh my God, she's so in her ego, that woman. So you may be saying that to me too, but I do see it a different way nowadays. And how I see it quite differently is that I know now that the power to do the work that I do comes from within me. Well, it actually comes through me, really. It's consciousness. Now, I also know that you have that very same power. About, I think it was 22 years ago, I went off to train at a spiritual college, and my tutor there on the first day asked all of us, okay, how do you tune in? How do you tune in to do your psychic or mediumship reading? He wanted us to just tell him what our little routine or system was. And I said, well, I usually pull one or two cards and, I kind of go from there. I never did classic tarot. For me, it was more of just an intuitive opening. I pulled my cards here because when I did used to use them, these were my favorite deck. Can't remember what they're called, but they always had kind of nice images on, things like that, and things like that, and things like that. And you could kind of, how I used to use them, I would pull a card and I go, oh, this part of the card draws me and what it's telling me is this. And I would use that as my opening into working with that person's energy. That's how I used to do it. Other people said, though, that they, they use pendulums. They start with a pendulum or, they ask to hold the person's watch or something and they do psychometry. And there are many ways, many tools, right, that we can use to begin our process of working with someone. Anyway, our tutor said that if we use any kind of tool like this in order to get a connection, then we are actually limiting ourselves. Now, I had to sit with that for a while to really get that and feel whether that felt correct for me or not. But he went on then to say, now imagine if you are somewhere and you want to do a reading or a healing on someone, but you don't have your tools with you. You can't set up a crystal grid around the massage table where they're going to be lying, or you can't open up your cards to start an intuitive reading. He said, if you haven't got your tools with you, you can't work anywhere, everywhere. And he said, you will struggle because you've become so reliant upon your tools. And he said, the longer you use that as your system, as your tool, then the harder it will be when you don't have them. Well, that was pretty much the day that I stopped relying on any of those tools. Now, I have taught people crystal grids and things like that over the years, but I pretty much certainly put down the cards. I didn't use the cards anymore in the way that I had been. If I use them now, it's for a little bit of fun. It's very rare. The truth is that we are always connected to Source, to the divine. We don't actually need any of these tools to help us to connect or to get information, because we're always connected. We just have to tune in, to that vibration, to that frequency, or expand our energy field so that we can feel what's around and what's coming in. We don't need physical tools to do that, is what I'm saying. We just have to align to the energy, and it kind of comes through. It's not even really that it comes through. It's just that we begin to sense it and we pick it up, and there's a knowing that comes with that as well. So you've probably heard the analogy of tuning like a radio station in to pick up what you want to pick up. And it's a little bit like that, really. But you don't have to sit there and consciously say, oh, I need to tune in to this person. It's like an overall sensing, feeling, knowing thing within your energy and consciousness. So the information that we want to pick up, whether it's healing energies or, intuitive reading kind of energy, it's always there. We just have to be open to that field of consciousness and allow it to come into our awareness, really. So what about working with crystals? Well, I famously said some years back that putting crystals in your bra doesn't work. And I know I upset a few people who like to put lots of crystals in their bra. The thing is, it's true that different crystals have a different vibration to one another. And they say that certain crystals align to certain things, like rose quartz aligns to love, and citrine aligns to abundance, and then you use tourmaline for protection, and you use like smoky quartz for grounding and things like that. Now, it's true that crystals have a different vibration. I don't know who came up with the idea that citrine is for abundance or rose quartz is for love. I don't know who invented that. If you know, please let me know, because I would be interested to hear about that. I don't know where that bit comes from. But the point is, do the crystals work on their own? And no, I don't think they do. Now, I used to teach crystal healing. I used to do crystal healing. I used to teach crystal healing. I used to make beaded jewelry with crystals. And at the time I was saying, oh yeah, you wear the rose quartz because it will assist your healing process, or whatever it was that I said. So I've been into all of that stuff over the years, been in all of it, left all of it go, moved out the other side. But the point is, if you want to be wealthy and you think, oh, I'll put citrine in my bra, or I'll wear a necklace with citrine, that will make me abundant. Well, will it really? If you want to attract lots of money and you wear citrine to bring in that money, does it really? I don't think so. And believe me, I've tried. I have tried wearing citrine and thinking, I'm a millionaire. I'm not a millionaire just because I wore a piece of citrine. The citrine doesn't help. The point is, if you have money blocks, if you have limiting beliefs around money or your ability to earn money or to have money or to hold on to money, a piece of citrine in your bra won't fix that. You have to do like the psycho-spiritual work to clear those energy blocks, the mindset stuff, so that then you can bring more money in. But it's not the crystal that does it. And equally, if you want to attract love, maybe you want to find your soulmate, wearing rose quartz doesn't make that work. If deep down inside, you have a belief, maybe because what you experienced in childhood or some of the experiences you've been through in life, if you have a belief that all men are nasty and they cheat on you, or maybe all women are only after your money, if you have that as a belief, then your brilliant mind, your subconscious mind, it only ever wants to protect you. And what it's going to do is block you from allowing a person or love into your life, regardless of whether you're wearing a rose quartz pendant or not. Because the point is, your mind wants to protect you. And if you have a belief that somebody coming into your life is going to hurt you, then you will unconsciously do things to destroy that relationship. You'll block them from coming in. You'll sabotage the relationship somehow if you have a belief that it's not safe to be in relationship with someone. As I said, you can wear a rose quartz pendant if you want. You can put it crystal in your bra. You can wear a bracelet. You can sleep with it beside your bed. But the rose quartz itself is not going to bring in that love until you've sorted out what's going on in your own mind. The psychological and the spiritual part of that is more powerful than your crystal. Let's talk about pendulums. Have I used them? Yes, I loved them for a while. But what we need to understand about a pendulum, though, is that in order for it to be accurate, we have to be completely neutral to whatever that answer might be. Because if we're not, we are perfectly capable of influencing the swing of that pendulum to actually give us the answer that we really want. Now, ask me how I know. Of course, yes, I have manipulated pendulums to get the answer that I want. But it didn't play out in real life. Like, okay, I really want this job, so I hold a pendulum. Will I get this job? I really want it to say yes. So the pendulum says yes because my mind controlled it. But did I get the job? No. Because it's not that the pendulum lied. It's just that I manipulated it to get the answer that I wanted. Not consciously at the start. I didn't realize I was doing that. But I did begin to notice that the pendulum always gave me the answer that I wanted. But when I did it with a girlfriend, we used to, practice our spiritual stuff together. When she asked the question, she didn't always get the same answer that I did. So it's like, how come mine says yes and yours says no? It's like, what the heck's going on here? So we would ask questions back and forth, we'd ask my questions, we'd both do the pendulum, we'd ask her questions, we'd both do the pendulum, and I would get different answers to her as well. So we're like, what the heck? Anyway, we cleansed the pendulum, right? Thinking it might be, I don't know, bad, distorted or something. So we cleansed it and still there was a mismatch there. And the other thing is that if she knew the answer that I wanted or vice versa, then it would give us the answer that we wanted. So it then became very clear, right, that we are manipulating the pendulum with our mind. Now, can pendulums genuinely give you correct answers? Yes, of course they can. But it's only as good as the person using it, and it's only as clear as that person's mind. Remember as well, we're all human, right? I've seen this many, many times. Somebody goes to a psychic and they go, I think my partner's cheating on me and, could you give me a psychic reading on that? Well, firstly, I'm very against tuning into other people that haven't asked for the reading. To me, that is, it's a big no-no. I think that would carry an awful lot of a karma as well, because you don't have the permission to go into everybody's energy field. So, this lady comes and says, can you just do a check in on my husband and see if he's cheating on me? And the psychic goes, yeah, I'll just have a little look. So she has a look. No, that's a no-no. He hasn't requested it. It's an invasion of his privacy, overstepping boundaries. But anyway, that's aside. So along comes this lady. Please, could you check in on my husband? Because I think he's cheating on me. Now, if that psychic has got a history of men, relationships that have broken down because they cheated, she's already emotionally engaged in this process. So the information that she's likely to bring up could be distorted, and she'll be giving this lady a distorted message based upon her own unhealed wound. That doesn't happen every time. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying be wary of that, because, you know, we're all human. We've all got our emotional stuff to deal with, and some of it we haven't dealt with yet. And, you know, as a psychic, a medium, a healer, they should be clear so that they are a clear channel so that they can bring through information clearly to you. But, you know, really, in reality, sometimes our own emotional stuff gets in the way. It's a true thing. So that would be true for all of us, and we try our best to be as clear as we can, of course, right? But we're human. So where did I get to in my notes? I was talking about pendulums. Yes, pendulums. Only as clear, will only give as clear an answer as the mind of the person holding the pendulum is also as clear. If that makes sense. Okay, let me talk to you now. Oh, I just need a sip of my tea, excuse me. Crystal grids and templates I've got written here. They're tools, that's all, just like everything else. We don't have to use them. And actually, I think sometimes they can limit us. So in order to, let me say it this way. Crystal grids, crystal grids and templates, or even words that we use to open and close a healing session, they are aligned to something, to a particular bandwidth, if you like. So say, for example, you went to a class and they taught you this crystal grid and you go, oh, great, I'm going to use that crystal grid all the time. Every time you use it, you're aligning to, you know, that modality, that healing workshop, that the intention with which that crystal grid was created. And you're using its tools. So every time you use that grid, you're aligning back to that modality, for example. This is true for everything, though, not just crystal grids. It's also true for the energy that the person that created these cards was, true for any tarot deck or oracle card. Wherever their consciousness is or was when they created it, that's what you're aligning to when you use the tool, right? And, you know, not everything is as open and expansive and clean or pure as it should be or could be either, for the reasons I've already explained. So it's kind of like levels in how far things can reach. And while we can expand and grow, if we keep pulling ourselves back to something, back to basics all the time, then we're really limiting our growth. So in quantum, we are very expansive. If we're talking about quantum entanglement and, you know, infinite potentials and possibilities in the quantum field and all of that, if we're talking all of that stuff, and yet then we whip out a crystal grid that we learned, you know, in our very first year of healing, there could be a mismatch, is what I'm saying. Could be a mismatch in where your consciousness wants to go, and yet you're dragging yourself back to that, which might be a little bit more limited. So we need to be aware of that so that we're not pulling ourselves backwards to old things. And I'll give you this kind of funny little analogy that came when I was writing my notes. You know, when you learn to ride a bike, you've got the little training wheels on the back, and then those get taken off and you drive along on your two-wheeler because now you've achieved a certain level, right, of skill. Why would you then keep going back to the little bike with the training wheels on? You're really slowing yourself down when you're still in those training wheels. So why would you keep pulling yourself back to some of the tools that you feel you need to rely on, rather than going into that really expanded state of knowing the power, that's within you as a creative force, or knowing how connected you are to everything, and you don't have to be holding a crystal in your hand in order to do so. Because like my tutor said, if the crystal wasn't there one day, what would you do? Oh, I can't connect. I haven't got my crystal. What do I do? So why would you keep pulling yourself back to relying on tools like a crutch when you can easily walk on your own, you can run? So why would you pull yourself back? Are you stuck in limited thinking in some way? Or are you attached to a certain way that things need to be done? Is that the only way things could be done? Is there another way, a more upgraded, expansive version of that? So I'm encouraging you to open your mind, explore some new ways, different ways, realize that the power is within you, not in an external object, as pretty as it might be. And I know that we can get very attached to our training tools, but that's all they are, training tools. Just like the training wheels that we needed when we were learning to ride a two-wheeler bike. So at some point, we need to put those training tools down. We need to acknowledge the power within us and the interconnectedness of everything. We are pure consciousness. We don't need an external object to be connected to all that is. So that's my thoughts for today. I hope it's inspired you to think in a new way, in a different way, to open up your mind. Hopefully it will. Now, if this has been useful to you, please like and subscribe to this channel, maybe share it with a friend. And you can also find me, of course, on Instagram and Facebook, Karen Turpin Energy Coach. And come on over to the Facebook group and join me. It's called Awake, Aware, Sovereign and Free. Hope this has been useful to you. Have a great week, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.